So there's a famous scene of a German goalie, Jens Lehmann.
Yeah.
There's a point in a final game where he pulled out a piece of paper that some coach had given him just before one of the opposing players came up to the penalty shot, to the 11-meter shot.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And do you remember this?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
people,
yeah.
yeah, in Germany, everybody was wondering what was on that paper. And was it just show? Was it just for him to confuse the player to tell him that he knows which corner he's going to go to?
A trend analysis of the player, how he hits the ball, which direction he would most probably would be taking, those kind of things. So, and that comes with analysis of maybe his last 50 games. It's not just something that you just know because you saw the last game that the guy was doing a penalty kick. No, but that you do trend analysis. So what clubs do ask us before is uh, so they say, okay, I have a game with this club, but I need 15 last 15 games of these clubs to be analyzed, and I want this reports from those matches. So that's like a summary of that report. That's what, and sometimes they would ask as close as like 2 days before the game.
I'm here with Wondwesen Zewdie. Wondwesen, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me, Elvis. Yeah,
Great to have you.
yeah,
You're in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia, and you're with R&D Group,
yeah, Amps,
and
R&D Group.
also you run or head or lead. We'll get to that. The Ethiopian Outsourcing Association.
Yeah, indeed. Yes.
Right, right, right. So I'd love to talk to you about both those things and, of course, all the stuff that's happening in the world. But I'd love to talk to you about R&D Group first, maybe. We'll just kind of, if you could just give us a brief overview of what you guys do, how long you guys have been around, and what's, you know, what's your
Yeah.
story?
Well, R&D, it's been now 15 years now. It was founded in 2010 in December. It was actually the initial conception of the whole company was actually a small CSR project that we had. It was a job creation project that we had with my partner, which lives in Holland. And there is this company who wanted to do a sports analysis by then because they are a mathematics company. They do uh, data annotation services. They do logistic optimization and transport services. But since they are a mathematics company, they wanted to make something fun out of this, and they wanted to invite their clients to skyboxes in the stadiums, and they wanted to show them some analysis of the matches. So that's how. So they had this concept, and they to start it with. My partner pitched it that it can be done in Ethiopia, and we did. So it was a CSR initiative by the company, and said. Uh, at the end, we ended up recruiting some students from university. There's a good private sector university here in Ethiopia that's called St. Mary's University. We recruited five guys to do sports analysis, and we trained them for 2 months. And that's how it started. We started with the 2010 African Cup of Nations. And then the pilot was very successful, and the company also saw a very nice business model for it, and it expanded. And we ended up having 135 sports data analysts right now. So it's really like it's a very humble start. And then the company also does, besides this, the company does other outsourcing services. We do hardcore software development services. We do enterprise support in Ethiopia. We do business acceleration supports. We do corporate trainings for bigger enterprises, the multinationals in Ethiopia as well. And then, of course, we have our advisory wing where we advise on HR.
Oh, that last one
So that
threw a loop for me. That so you advise on HR. How does that fit into the? I was going to ask something else, but then you said we also advise on HR. How does that fit into being IT outsourcing? You
yeah,
advise
but
local companies on HR or global companies or?
yes, that's a thing. So we everything we have done, it came from a need that we had ourselves. So, like I said, so the first inception of the company didn't mean that we had that expertise in managing people, in managing young people in particular. So we had a challenge, like the first 3, 4 years of our existence, we had challenges in managing people. And then we figured it out with corporate trainings, we designed HR structures for ourselves. We consulted with consultants, advisors, to design a very good structure where that really worked for us until now, right now. And then we are like shifting into a better systems right now. But till then, we had a very good structure, and we said, okay, this is something that other companies could use as well. That's how the advisory started. So we advised, okay, how do you motivate your people? How do you design your pay scale? So we partner with Mercer. It's the biggest HR consulting firm in the world, basically. And then we started advising other companies also to do these pay scale designs, organizational restructuring, those kind of things. And then, of course, the corporate training came about because we trained our people and it became very successful. So we became a talent hub ourselves, and we said, okay, this is also something we can do for others. So that's how our academy was also founded. So it all came from a need that we have had once. So that's the thing. Yeah.
Right. Okay. How many people do you have working for you currently?
Now we have 146 because I doubt on the numbers because the sometimes we get remote works, we get some gig works that are 6 months or a year or so. So the number fluctuates, but we do have 100 more than 140 head counts right now. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay. So let's go back. That's super interesting about the sports analytics. So I, like many other people, watched the movie Moneyball with Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
baseball
of course.
coaches, scouts used to
This
decide from their stomach, like if this pitcher was good or that pitcher, and then
yeah.
was it Oakland? Was that the team they
Yeah, that
first
and
got in
this
the
the story of Billy Bean and how he ended up
right,
like revolutionizing the whole sports analysis because of the way he used a weaker team to be able to be champions, you know.
right?
So, but that is it's quite interesting that you said that because we actually like indirectly we had worked with Billy Bean as well.
Okay,
He so our model was we have a partner in the Netherlands, and that partner, the same company that we have initiated the whole sports analysis department with, and they ended up serving uh, multiple clubs. I think at some point they served with data analysis 12 of the 18 Eredivisie clubs. That is the Dutch league. And then, of course, we have also supplied data for Manchester United from the popular ones for Liverpool through them, and of course the reach has also extended to youth academies in the US, in Canada, in Japan as well. So there's the Chinese league also was a client of ours, and at some point we have served FIFA also in the competition analysis as well. So through these processes, so that we had to. Support in co-building the platform that we use to analyze the data for. So basically, we tag what's happening in the game during the game for all the 90 minutes, and say every time something happens with the ball, we tag it and we grade it, we label it. That's what it is. And then at the end, we generate reports that can be used for clubs to prepare for the next matches, for scouting purposes, for media purposes, where you see on screens of media, where you see the ball possessions, fast success rates, like the goal attempt success rates, those kind of things. That's what we do. We because the data comes from somewhere, so that's where we stand in. And then at some point, Billy Bean was an advisor for our platform to be better, to be able to co combine all the possible data points that can be possible, so that it can be as efficient as really actually going into the games and seeing in your eyes. Because one of the added value of having this kind of data and analysis is because in the olden times, coaches would have to go all the way to South America, all the way to Africa to be able to scout and see what's happening in the game, to scout young people, right? So, but now they don't have to do that necessarily, because we integrate our data with their video analysis platforms, which, because these days clubs have a whole big department that does video analysis, and our tool integrates with that. So that's what it is. So that's the support of Billy Bin with the advisory services that to make the platform better. Yeah.
So there's a famous scene of a German goalie, Jens Lehmann, and I can't remember exactly when it was. People are going to scold me, but
Yeah.
there's a point in a final game where he pulled out a piece of paper that some coach had given him just before one of the opposing players came up to the penalty shot, to the 11-meter shot.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And do you remember this?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
people,
yeah.
yeah. So I don't know to what extent this went beyond Germany, but in Germany, everybody was wondering what was on that paper. And was it just show? Was it just for him to confuse the player, to tell him that he knows which corner he's going to go to? To what extent does that have something to do with your platform? Not that specific scene, but that kind of insight, that kind of information.
Yeah, that's the thing. So because if I have to guess, if I have to make a guess from experience of what clubs used to ask us for, because if I have to guess, it's probably a trend analysis of the player, how he hits the ball, which direction he would most probably would be taking, those kind of things. So, and that comes with analysis of maybe his last 50 games. It's not just something that you just know because you saw the last game that the guy was doing a penalty kick. No, but that you do trend analysis. So what clubs do ask us before is, uh, so they say, okay, I have a game with this club, but I need 15 last 15 games of these clubs to be analyzed, and I want this reports from those matches. So that's like a summary of that report. That's what, and sometimes they would ask as close as like 2 days before the game, right? So they just like for game day preparations, they analyze that, and we also do playlists for them. So to say, okay, what were the most through passes in the last 15 games? Who is doing them? Where do you lean in? So during the game, so you see like you have like a certain positioning of the players when the game starts, which is say it's 4-3-3. Like because we used to serve Ajax, so I keep going to 4-3-3 because they basically invented it. But then let's assume it's 4-3-3. But then that does not mean that the game is actually played with 4-3-3, but because the coach will have a tactic and say, okay, this guy is strong with his left foot, but he's playing in the right side, so he is going to lean in on the right. However, this guy, he's a defender, but he's very good in running across the field, so he wants him to play deep. So, but at the end, when you analyze this one club that plays 4-3-3 for 10 last games, you would see that it is really not 4-3-3, but it is because we map the average positions of the players during the game. And then that information is a really a big value for whomever is opposing them. So that because they know how this club is leaning in to while they are playing the game. So that is the kind of insights that we generate out of the information. So we put in these heat maps as well, and like these are very typical, but uh, there are very very specific informations that the coach would like to know from analysis of an opposing team, also their own teams. What they do is, at some point, I remember Ajax was giving players their own data. So we analyzed like the whole matches, and when we do when the match report is generated, you can generate a match report per player. So the player actually goes home with his report and studies, okay, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing well? And then they can work on it, and then the next day. That's also something that they used to do. Yeah, yeah,
Fascinating. I mean, I
yeah,
could talk about this all podcast.
yeah.
So you just mentioned Ajax, right? Ajax Amsterdam. Now, how is it? Couple of questions. How come you can just say their name? Like what is why is this something that, isn't it, there's a question in here somewhere. Isn't it an unfair advantage, or is there some kind of regulation from the league that,
No.
there isn't. It's just like whatever data you can get, go for it.
Yes, that's the thing. Okay, let me tell you this. So every league, every big league, let's say every big league in the world, they have a data supplier. So maybe they do it internally or they outsource this, but they have data. They have data analysis. So it could be very high level, and clubs may request for the data or they can get it for free from the league. That's basically statistics, usually main events, usually goal attempts, usually those main events, they usually get them from the club. So for deeper insights and deeper analysis,
What do you mean by main
clubs,
events? Like the main, like the goals, or like
main
the
events, how many goals, how many
in
goal
the
attempts,
okay,
how many were
right.
on goal.
The
So the
highlights
things,
kind of thing.
yeah,
Okay.
the things that you see on media, right,
Right.
right?
Okay.
And those are useful, but not necessarily for deeper insights for like sports preparations or predicting what's going to happen next. So it wouldn't give you that kind of insights, but it does give you uh, like a brief analysis of how the league is, how this team is, how that team is. So, but they get them for free. Like all clubs, they have like a free access to the league's data. So that's what one of the services that a league is giving to clubs is this.
Yeah, well,
But
they're
then,
paying big membership fees at the to the league too, right? So that's
yeah,
part of
of
their,
course,
yeah, yeah.
part of it. But then, for the clubs that do want the deeper insights, and that's another story. So because yeah, one thing that we were very proud of, doing this sports analysis business was our data used to be probably one of the most compiled because we collect as many data as possible from one match. So up to 1,500 data points we used to collect from one match, and that's each data point used to have like 4 or 5 data sets. So every time a player touches the ball, you say, okay, this number, this guy that wears this shirt number, he made a goal attempt in this location with his left foot, and the goal went. Maybe the goalkeeper caught it. All these informations within just one say, we can say it every time a player touches the ball. We say it. And it's very coded, and some AI integrations also were involved there. And then all this data, all these on-ball actions registered. That means something for the clubs because like I told you earlier, clubs have their own video analysis departments, so they have a department. But to input that into their video analysis platforms, they need data. They need data of that's where we come from, and they put in their data, and their video analysts also have like a side by side playlists of the videos of what they are looking for, and with the statistics as well. So because we grade everything, so I give you an example. So if it's let's say it's a pass, right? So we grade every action from 1 to 5, right? So if it is an assist, it's a 5. If it is a through pass that creates a danger is a four, like so something that Messi does, right? Three is neutral pass during the game, and if it's intercepted but not dangerous enough, it's two. And then of course, if it's goal against you, it's a one. So we grade every action. This is just for pass while we say
Yeah,
it. That's the thing. So the clubs needs these insights. That's what it is. And it is
right.
fair. It is fair because they pay for it. Mm.
Well, well, yeah, I mean, in Moneyball, it was kind of the Robin Hood story because it was a cheaper team that was able to win. But once the cat's out of the bag, I could imagine that I mean, either every team does it.
Yeah,
I mean, you and I talked offline. I just spoke with at a personal event. I was with the owners of one of the leading European football clubs, which I won't say the name here, but because they're
yeah,
very
yeah,
interested.
yeah,
And they told me they just send their they send that request to the league, and they were very interested in this, personalized private data. So it's not that the big teams have all already figured that out, like that they all, I mean, Moneyball was what, 2003?
yeah, yeah.
And there's still, Champions League teams uh, that are not doing that on their own. They're going through the league, and that's why I was asking in the beginning if there's maybe some kind of regulation. But they told me too there isn't really. It's just that
No,
they get the basic data from the league, and they don't have that private support from
no.
organizations like yours.
Yeah, because like the data we tag is publicly available. That's the thing. Or the footages that we get, and usually the clubs themselves provide them because they do have the rights to them as well. So then and it's just analyzing what's happening in there, and as far as like not that this one is extremely data sensitive, but even if it is, so our company is we are certified with ISO certification. We are GDPR compliant company. So even if that is the case, it wouldn't be a problem for data security. So that's and that's important in negotiations as well.
No, yeah, I get that part. What I was thinking is that some leagues have, for example, a salary cap, so that, my background, I know ice hockey a little bit, so like the New York Rangers could like buy all the
Yeah.
players, and a team, I can't think of one, but a team that doesn't have so much money couldn't, right? So then you have
No.
like different systems, like a draft system, right? Where
Yeah.
the last place team gets to pick the first youngster. Uh, or, I think football especially has that where they cap how much you can pay as a team. And then they have all kinds of other rules to kind of level the playing field between the rich teams and the poorer teams. And I would
Yeah.
imagine that this could be part of that, right? Like how much video analysis. Either everybody gets to do it through the league or nobody gets to do it. But what you're saying is it's just, whoever wants to take advantage of it can do it.
Yeah, it's like any other service basically. But the thing is, if while you're saying it, I because it actually does benefit the smaller teams because the thing is like actually investing a lot of money to went to these games, to go to these games, to actually uh, uh, like be in person in location for analysis. That's
Right.
quite expensive. So that's where you get the competitive edge. Like smaller teams can opt to uh, uh, have a better like as much as like what Billy Bean did basically. So you rely on data, you rely instead of investing a lot of money actually going around, you rely on data and to make it to make your decisions. So that actually is beneficial for the smaller clubs, I would say, because this data, as much considering the value of it, is not as expensive as you would think. So like considering the amount of money that is being spent in the in sports sector, you know. Uh,
So you're based in Addis in Ethiopia. So Ethiopia has 135 million people, give or take. And it's a lower middle income country. So is there an advantage, like a cost advantage of getting people who are maybe less expensive to ramp this up? Or is there, because I'm wondering a lot of times, so you have like 145 people, uh, and then you said you have freelancers, right? And if a team sends something to you like 2 days before a match, you can ramp up your numbers. Do you see an advantage? I mean, you guys are also based in the Netherlands, right? Do you see an advantage of being based in Ethiopia on that side, being cost competitive?
Of course, that's what it is. The thing is, we're in the business of outsourcing. So outsourcing BPO, uh, that's one of our major pillars. And the whole concept of outsourcing is uh, actually outsourcing your part of your work that's not your core business to a third party for a relatively competitive pricing. So that is what it is. So uh, yeah, ideally, because we do have an office in Holland, hiring a Dutch person and hiring an Ethiopian person is quite different, right? But the thing is, the value that we get out of this, and we are very proud of, is in Ethiopia, where we are from. Uh, we are the big one of the biggest payers here. While being the biggest payer and adding value and creating employability, and of course creating indirect impacts through these employments as well. But we can still be very cost competitive from the western part of the world, so, if you know what I mean. So, right? So Europeans, Northern America, outsourcing is a big culture, really. And in most of this outsourcing will start being done usually in Southern East Asian countries, India being one of the first ones, actually the first big ones actually to do it quite at scale, and then the Philippines do it really well as well. So, but then now it's time for the African youth to actually get to that kind of niche, to be able to uh, uh, bring in the right knowledge and the right talent pool to be able to be competing with the Southern Asian country that is like a typical destination. But other African countries are doing quite a lot, and particularly for Ethiopia as well. Since the last 3 4 years, the sector is being really it's growing very well at scale, and hoping it will create lots of employments for young people as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that, why you think it's been in the last 2 or 3 years, because I was last in Ethiopia in 2019, and I felt that with, Ethio Telecom not being maybe as competitive as some of the other telcos on the continent, it was a bit tricky. I'm thinking back to you saying, well, you're getting data from the 2 days before a game, you're getting data in, and it's of course these are probably also large files, or you're streaming them, so you need that good connectivity, which that combination of young people streaming onto the labor market and having much more stable connectivity and much more reliable
Mm.
infrastructure is probably the thing that leads to this happening now as opposed to earlier in your career. I mean, you started in 2010. You must have
Yeah.
had a bunch of headaches along that
Oh
pathway.
man. Yeah. Because I mean, it's quite an interesting question you raised. The thing is, when we started, like we talk about it as a funny story right now, but we used to send, like, because even hard disks were quite big right by then, so we had like a quite like this heavy, like you know this the newer kind of desktops that are that used to look like a VH that look like an old VHS tape, right? So the hard disk used to be as big as that. So my partner used to send those hard drives with full of video footages through an actual airplane, so through DHL, through that kind of thing, and then uh, we used to analyze those games offline and the platform, and then and then we need to upload the XML file to then for the client to access them. So that was like the first start, because we couldn't rely on on analyzing matches live. Like internet connectivity would be quite different. So fast forward now, uh, the sports analysis is being done like with, so one match is being done with four people. Right now we are not. It's quite a break right now. We are not doing it, but what is being done is four people sit together, they watch a game, and then every time a player touches the ball, the two guys analyze one team, the two guys analyze the other team. And every time a player touches the ball, somebody clicks on their screen what location the player is being touching the ball. Like at the same time, he says what's happening in the game, or she says what's happening in the game. Okay, this guy made a throw in from these positions, and it was a successful one, and she would say that with coded letters, and then she clicks the location. So that means all the four computers have to be connected through the network and internet connectivity, and they have to be connected to the internet because the client will have to access them live. So that's what it is.
Right.
And then more often than not, these video footages, they might not be on cable, right? So then you will have to actually do a streaming. So while we stream the matches, we analyze them live. So that's what it is. So that's how really good the internet have become since the last maybe 4 years, 3 years later. It has become like, for actually doing a live stream in 10 locations at the same time, 40 people doing the same jobs at the same time, live streaming with the same network. So that's even for countries that have a good success with internet connectivity, that is quite rare to do. So that is how good it has become. And then it's not just infrastructures, but also regulatory frameworks that are being designed to be able to support the outsourcing sectors, because it's a service export industry and we want to support it. That is like quite a lot is being done, but I will tell you more about it when if we are discussing about our outsourcing associations and what we are trying to do. So, but things are going really well here. Yeah,
Right. Before we get there, I want to get there,
yeah,
and we will. But before we
yeah.
get there, so these owners of this football club, they also asked me, they have a personal connection to the volleyball national team. And you'll remember this was a couple of days ago, and we were texting back and forth, and I asked you, and you texted me that you could do volleyball also, but you would need a domain expert to sit with you. So my question is, I'm trying to wrap my head around. I find it a fascinating topic. My
Yeah.
question is, so what about this, what you're telling me, is human expertise, and what is human labor in the sense that larger numbers, what we said was cost competitive, and what about it is actually AI? Like how can you that triangle between a subject matter expert, a young person or a bunch of young people actually doing the clicking, and the AI. Can you explain that triangle to me?
Well, okay, subject matter expert, because the thing is, when you do data tagging, because I will tell you about our platform that we have launched recently. Uh, when you do a certain kind of work, you need context. That's the thing. So what Billy Bean has done for sports data analysis is because he is a domain expert basically. So he said, okay, no, but in this sports, when a player does this, it means this. When a player does that, you need that context to be able to tag the data. You just don't do it. But then the same thing for example, what we are trying to do uh, is also uh, uh, through our platform. It's called annotateplus.ai. It's a platform that we have launched. Hopefully, the idea is to create around 15,000 jobs for young Ethiopians in the next 5 years. That's the design of it. But then Annotate Plus is what it does is uh, besides what's happening in the sports games and what through our expertise that we have compiled with the sports analysis, we have made we noticed that this can be done for anything. This can be done for any video footages. This can be done for any image footages. And much like the Scale AI, if you're familiar with Scale AI, yeah. And then and these things can be done, and particularly for African data, for data that is not really widely available on the net, and that's something that we can add value in. So that's how we developed a platform to do data tagging instead of just sport. So you see, if we have to tag a volleyball, we have done hockey because it's quite similar with football, like the most of the things, but field hockey, not ice
Hmm.
hockey.
Hmm.
But we used to do that as well. And our guys, it's not known. Like Ethiopians, we believe that we discovered field hockey, but don't quote me on this. But we have like a cultural field hockey games every Christmas, the Ethiopian Christmas, and that is like hundreds of years ago. It's a culture that started, and uh, but then we did have a field hockey game analysis, but not because we know it, but because the clients says it and say, okay, you know what, I am going to assign a domain expert for this. She will help us because we were fortunate enough to work with Alice, and I don't know if you know Alice, and she's an Australian Olympic gold medalist with hockey,
Hmm.
and she's supported with like the how the game works really, and then we need to tweak the some of the components of the platform to fit to the hockey game. So that's what could happen for volleyball as well. It is, but ideally, it is basically a video data labeling platform that we can leverage for anything. But for everything, you need a domain expert. So currently, we are, for example, in negotiations with the Ministry of Health in Ethiopia, and then to identify disease trends, and but we needed, without a domain expert, you cannot just tag all this medical data, medical informations like without any context. So that's why you need a domain expert. But then, yeah, it is possible and it is doable for sure. Yeah. So I get
Wow.
excited about this topic, so I keep talking. So
No,
you please
please,
stop me.
please.
Yeah.
No, 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 no. I mean, this is guys nerding out on sports, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, yeah. So I'm just wondering how fast this is going to explode. So we're always talking about AI taking away jobs and automating things. And then at the same time, you speak with clubs that have a lot of money and aren't using this yet to the full extent. Makes me wonder how many more niche sports. I mean, football is the biggest sport in the world, right?
yeah.
How many other sports would have money for this, but aren't yet using it, aren't yet getting there? And then that combination, can you talk a bit more about how you see the trajectory of that combination where image tagging, say like for self-driving cars, right? So my lay perspective of it was that, well, we're trying to
Yeah.
teach the cars to understand the roads themselves until they can understand it themselves. And then we don't need image tagging anymore because they're going to tag their own images or they're going to understand it. Like it's like kind of we're teaching them, and once they know it, we don't need image tagging anymore. And people in the industry have tried and failed to explain it to me why we'll still need image tagging. It'll just be different kinds of image tagging. Is this a sector that or a task that comes and goes, or is this a task that you see indefinitely growing? You know what I mean? Like, I
Um,
mean, for humans in the loop. Like, so actually, I'm interested in job creation, right? So
yeah.
for, what are young Ethiopians going to be doing in 5, 10 years? Um, can we get people in seats? Can we get people formally employed, right? Or is this something that's temporary and the AI gets so good that, of course, none of us knows how good the AI is going to get in the next few years. We can get to
Yeah.
that, right? But like, is this something where you see, okay, we want to we're confident that this has an
Mm.
exponential growth trajectory in terms of jobs.
Because this is a question that you can ask about anything, basically.
Yeah.
Anything in AI, anything in AI.
Yeah, and I
So
do.
Yeah. The thing. So, and it's a positive. The thing is, we also ask it as well. We also ask uh, experts in, okay, what's going to happen, and because it is in our interest to actually find out in depth about this issue, because through the association that we have, we need to advise our members to be able to adopt to the new way of working. You know, so yes, like companies need to be agile, and they need to make sure that, okay, they need to be mindful of where the world is going when it comes to AI. And in some cases, jobs are going to be affected. In a lot of cases, really. In some cases, better jobs are going to be created, and more value is going to be created as well. But if we talk specifically about data tagging, the thing is, with the stage of AI right now, as accelerating as it is going right now, but one thing for sure is it's only going to be as good as the data that it has. And then uh, already some components of data tagging are being supported with AI. So that's like it completes the cycle. So in the like, if you go maybe 4 or 5 years ago to do an image segmentation, you will have to like uh, touch every point on the edge of the image. But now the AI will say, okay, it will finish it for you, you know? So somehow your job is getting a bit easier, yes, but I don't know how, uh, when it is going to be possible that for AI to do data tagging by itself. Most components they because it does already, and our platform also, that's what we sell. We say, okay, it's AI supported tagging because because it's faster, it's more efficient, it's what it is. So yeah, I wish I could have like a better answer for you, but it is definitely going to affect some jobs for sure. But it is going to also create more value adding jobs as well. So while because our data taggers, while they keep working with AI, while they keep working in hand with AI, they are learning a lot. They are developing a lot as well. So that means they are mostly in the annotation, in the analysis, in the QA. They're very critical about what's happening. So they have more information, more context on when to tag, how to tag it as well. So yeah, but it is what it is. Like with AI, it's quite unpredictable where it's happening. I mean, it does affect some of it. Yeah, but we hope not. Well, like for jobs for African use sake, really. Yeah.
So the 145 people you have, to what extent are they becoming irreplaceable for you? To what extent are you saying, okay, this is going to take me, in the beginning, it took me a week or maybe just a day, tell people here's the fire hydrant, just click it, do the clicking. And now it's like because AI does most of the rote work, you need like a manager of AI. Are you seeing that kind of upward mobility for your staff where you're feeling, okay, well, AI may automate things, but at the same time, all these sectors are opening up, right? Maybe soon we'll be doing, I don't know, data analytics for the yo-yo competition, right? Like all the niche
Yeah.
sports, right? So and all the lower leagues, right? In football, everybody's filming, I mean, there's people filming my little daughter's football match now, like so I hope
Yeah.
they don't
Yeah.
start with data analytics in that league, but who knows with
No,
the
no, they
ambition
do.
of
They do.
oh, I can imagine with the ambition of some of the parents.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
but yeah. But
but
you know
you
what I
but
mean? Like that trade-off, like AI takes the lower rungs of the ladder away, but you have to climb up that ladder. Are you seeing that kind of baked into the type of work you guys are doing? Like, do you have like 100 subject matter domain experts now that are kind of could ramp up with teams underneath them, teams of say half AI, half people to kind of broaden the space for humans and AI? Does that make sense, that kind of analogy?
yeah, yeah, no, yeah, because like shouldn't everyone do this? That's the thing. So uh, currently with the platform that we have right now, uh, because it is a change in business model because of AI. Because in the olden times, what we have done is it's like sports analysis is one of the things that we are known for, but we used to do anything. We used to do data tagging for anything. So a client would come in and say, okay, I want my data to be tagged. Here's a couple of thousand images, da da da. But then they also provide you the platforms to do them on. And then we're doing just the tagging. Like it's like we're not adding any value really, and that's what it is. But then we said, okay, you know what? Uh, let's do value addition. Let's do the platform ourselves. And then because we have learned a lot, like we have learned for more than 15 years how data tagging works. Based on that expertise, that's our growth trajectory. Because AI is coming in and AI needs data, not just data that specific clients are asking us, but every data. So we need to make sure that we build something that can work for everything. That's how the whole thing have come about. As we also grow in our business models, in our innovations, the same thing happens for our employees as well. So, so currently, for example, what we are trying to do is we are partnering with GIZ. It's a you know GIZ, right? So what we are trying to do is to produce like around 3,500 like highly skilled uh, artificial intelligence, machine learning, data scientists, those kind of courses we are going to provide for our people and for universities so that it would also be integrated to curriculums so that we can grow with the world as well. So, and then they practice on our platforms, on our other members of the Ethiopian Outsourcing Association company platforms as well. So like we need to grow with the world. Yes, that's what it is. And employees will have to do the same as well. Even schools have to do the same. Curriculums have to be changed, like to account for AI. Like we are living in it. That's what's happening. And as sometimes we get a bit scared of what's going to happen. It's very unpredictable because almost every conversation that we have with clients in the last 6 months is very is filled with uncertainty, right? So everybody says, you know what? Okay, I want this job done for me, but then I don't want to do it for long because I don't know what AI's capability is if I have to do it in-house. So we like the clients are not sure, we are not sure because it's going too fast, right? So we are like in that bubble right now, and everybody is, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody is.
Mm.
Yeah. I'm currently writing this study about, what is AI doing to the GBS sector?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of sifting through the earnings calls, quarterly earnings calls, transcripts of the big CX companies, customer
Yeah.
experience companies.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because they are, if you didn't know they had like 400,000 people in their back office, those earnings calls sound like they are AI automation companies. Like they are helping their clients automate, but and they never use they never use the word like replace humans, but automate is actually that word, right? So they're cannibalizing their own sector, and of course, with the caveat that these are earnings calls, they, also put a positive spin on it, but to some extent, they kind of have to be honest.
What do
They,
they say though?
yeah, they say they're cannibalizing their own sector
Yeah.
by helping their clients, their customers, the buyers, the enterprise,
Yeah.
automate tasks.
Yeah.
And through that, and this is what they're saying to the banks that are listening to the earnings call, right? Through that, they are opening up new avenues. So in the short term, it's going, and remember, earnings calls, they care about money, right? They don't care about headcount. Like, so GIZ, the, the aid organizations and the governments in across Africa are really interested in numbers of jobs, right? That's
Yeah.
their
Yeah. Yeah.
metric, right? Uh, on an earnings call, you get a global CX company, they're the banks who asked them in the Q&A question, they are mostly asking about how are you going to make us more money, right? And that's fine. It's just that they're in this shift
Yeah,
of becoming AI first companies, yet they have 400,000 people in their back office, right? What are you going to do with those 400,000 people as your customers are automating their workflows, their tasks? Like you're helping them with AI and with the data that you've collected through your past interactions that were human based.
yeah,
And that's their kind of selling point currently to survive as a company in this fluctuating, in this turmoil market. But is that necessarily going to, as they're moving up the value chain, whether or not that's the case, but they have to do what they can, right? They're fighting this change to kind of hop on that surfboard to ride this wave of change. As they're moving up the value chain, are they going to bring their people with them? Or is there gonna be some point at which they're gonna let like half of them or most of them go and it'll just be like a dark call center, right? Like a dark
yeah,
factory.
yeah.
I don't know. It's not happened yet to my knowledge, right?
No,
We're not hearing yet this killer app that's allowing companies. We have these headlines, Microsoft let 14,000 people go, but if you look, into those numbers, it's not really that much. And it's not really this shift that has happened yet, and I'm speaking, end of July 2025, just to put a
yeah,
timestamp in it, because as of August it might be different. Who knows?
true.
I'm still not seeing that, like what everybody seems to be, holding their breath, waiting for, that there's going to be massive people let go across the world because AI can actually do 100% of their task. Uh, Man, to what extent that's hype? Because,
Yeah, no,
yeah, what do you
but like
think?
yeah, but it depends on the sector.
Yeah,
But but BPO is going to yeah, it's going to hurt us. That's for sure. Because we like the one thing that we have to do is because I have spoken with some big executives uh, of six companies, like global ones, and
yeah,
I always kept asking the same question. What's going to happen? What's going to happen with AI? Like already things are being automated. Already calls are being answered with being automated. So, but they always do not want. At least they don't want to say it. But they always are. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It's going to be. I don't think that's the answer though. Like,
yeah,
just I think we need, as an industry, we need to be able to figure out well, what are we gonna do, and how can we work together with the revolution? How can we be part of it? How can we capitalize on this? That should be the discussion. That should be like continuous discussion. Like if you deny it long enough, it's going to be like you wouldn't know when it hurts you. So uh, for me, like my take is like we have to admit that it is coming. It's not a hoax, and we are already seeing like what was I here like a week ago? 50% of Google's coding is done by AI right now. So that's then
is it
they have
50 now? I heard
50.
25 recently, but I guess
It's
they upped it. They just doubled it. Okay.
imagine. So like
Yeah,
particularly coding or those kind of things, it's good. It's good. Like, but at the same time, data science are being paid $100 million like athletes,
yeah,
like you
yeah,
see in the news.
yeah,
But then like there is a big shift. So we just have to, like, as technology companies, as BPO companies, we just have to figure out where we fit in, where we can innovate to be able to adopt this technology to be able to uh, make it work for us. So that is what uh, uh, every executive have to think about. That's what I think. And business models have to change, definitely for sure. That's what we have done. We are going to continue to do it as well. Uh, uh, it's not just with AI, it's also with other sectors as well that we. So, for example, like I told you earlier, like R&D does. We have an academy that does corporate trainings. So right now, what we have done is we developed a platform for an e-learning platform, but it is quite contextual to the fact that that fits to senior management, mid-level management, so that they can like with the psychometric assessment tools integrated to it, so that they can track their learnings, their managers track their learnings, and that's so we have to do something to adapt to the what's coming, and because people are on their phones, so you have to find them there. Again, with our enterprise development, we because we do a small and medium enterprise acceleration service is one of our wings as well. We did a platform as well. So because one of the biggest challenges that we have had in supporting SMEs in Ethiopia and also micro enterprise in Ethiopia is access to finance. You support with business development services. You say you do business acceleration services. You incubate a startup. You support them in this and that. But then without money, they're not going to go anywhere. So the biggest need is money, access to capital. So access to capital is not as easy as it is in elsewhere. It is an African problem really, because the banking system is quite not interesting for smaller businesses. So what we have done is we are launching now a crowdfunding platform where small businesses can be crowdfunded by everyday people. So
Okay.
that then, so you need to, for every sector that we are in, you need to think and say, okay, how do I innovate? How do I make it better? And how do I drive it with technology as well? So same thing with AI. So how do I leverage AI with everything? And with every tool that we're building, that's the same thing that we do. We're now building an R&D agent, like because we don't want to write proposals anymore, because we have done them hundreds of times. That we can like we use that learning. If we have an AI agent in the office, then we should be able to get assisted with that as well. So like every firm has to think of this, and BPO sectors is not an exception. So you just have to think of what to do, you know.
Maybe that's a good segue to speak about the Ethiopian Outsourcing Association because I mean, as much as maybe we started with the fun topic, I love also clusters of agglomeration. I love the idea of big cities being somehow having a vibe, having a feel for something is happening here. And I do think this connection, sector connection, is is important, being in the same place physically and actually being in contact, being with each other. A lot of times people wonder, oh, why should I speak with my competitors? It's just, is it a waste of time? I need to just put my head down and work hard. But every time you do speak with people, every time you do network, for many people that's natural, but for some people like myself, I don't do that enough, right? So uh, you mentioned that you set up this crowdfunding thing for startups. One angle would be, why do you care about startups? You got your own thing to run, you got your own company to run, right? So you're also thinking about the ecosystem, right? So tell me maybe a bit about the Ethiopian Outsourcing Association. How did it come about? What's your role in it? And maybe let's start there. It's not that old, is it? It's pretty young, right?
No, no, it's not that old, and I think 2.5 years now. Uh, uh, yeah, and the way it was set up is really because a couple of companies that do the same thing by same thing, I mean same industry, and they and we say because we have this WhatsApp group, and we say okay every time something that is good that something is challenging for us, because like I said, like 3 years ago internet was a challenge, 3 years ago regulations are not very tailored for the outsourcing industry in particular. So we always had some challenges that to address while we are serving our clients globally. And then we had this WhatsApp group and say, okay, hey, what's going to happen in the next month? We're hearing about these new regulations, but the Kenyans are doing this. What are we gonna do? Da, da, da. That's kind of conversations. And I say, you know what? And then we had
Who,
this
who were the
incident.
first members? Who
Um,
did it start with?
it's a couple of companies. I think some of them you know. There's a MMCY Tech. There's an Accelerant Solutions. You know them. from Ethiopia. There's R&D Group, there's us, and there's an Africom Technologies, and there are other gig platform workers as well in there. There are
Okay.
some call centers. So, and these guys we all have the same challenges. Like if there is a problem with internet, everybody wants to talk about it. What's going to happen? And then that's how we say that, you know what? Let's set up an association and have a bit more influence to be able to uh, make sure that okay, Ethiopia is also regarded as a destination, because one of the biggest challenges that we used to have is uh, our country is not known for being a big outsourcing destination, you know. That meant uh, that meant that we have to sell uh, Africa, we have to sell Ethiopia in particular before we start selling ourselves, our companies, and our value propositions, and saying, you know what, we cannot do it alone. So we have to come together and have the same voice, have an outsource to Ethiopia campaign. So that is how it all started really. So we said let's set up an association. It's just being founding members, a couple of us, and I serve as a president for the association right now. And major thing that we are trying to do is in the next 5 years, the idea without having to talk about AI, because this is a vision from 2 years ago, is to have 500,000 Ethiopian youth to be able to get jobs in the GBS industry, and for the outsourcing industry to be able to contribute at least 15% of the national foreign currency inflow. And it is not really an ambitious goal. It is something that can be doable as well. And the last 2 3 years we have come really a lot with changes in regulations, with representing Ethiopia in the global arena as well. And business developments are being very faster since the setup of our association, and members are being motivated to do more, to get more work from overseas companies as well. So that's where we are. It's right now we're not a lot of companies. It's only 20. In the next year, I think we have a lot of application right now. I think we will be in the next 6 months. We'll be 30 or 29, I believe. Uh, but yes, what we stand for is really making Ethiopia the next global destination for outsourcing and GBS sector. Yeah.
So what's required to become a member? Could I become a member, or is it required to be located in Ethiopia, or is it required to be an exporter, or can you also have domestic digital services companies as part of the club?
But all can be done. The thing is, we have membership tiers for offshore outsourcing firms that are doing work for overseas companies. And then we have tiers for local outsourcing companies that are doing onshore services. That means they do outsourcing services for other local bigger companies that they do. We have individual members. These are the remote workers serving
Right.
because it's quite a lot of numbers, like more than 20,000, I believe. Our remote workers are working from Ethiopia, serving the global market. And then of course we have an advisory board, and we have an ambassador program. So if you have to join our association, you would be as an ambassador or as an advisory board, because we would like as much knowledge as possible from all around the world. So that could be a voice for the country, for the sector, because the talent is quite immense, really. The talent is because the way we think of GBS growing in Ethiopia is not something that we say, okay, we already give us jobs, but rather uh, take an opportunity, like they make a use of this amazing opportunity of employing Ethiopian young people, because it's really quite brilliant. Young people working in technology sector, in KPOs as well, uh, and then they can add a lot of value for global companies. So that's where we are right now.
you have the Ethiopian Outsourcing Association. What is the main objective? Like, why are you guys doing this? Can you just walk me through what are your services? What are your ideas for which direction you want to take this in?
Yes, of course. Uh, so with our association, so the major part of it is so that the one thing that is lacking for us is access to information. So access to information, that means because we are in a global sector, so we're serving the world. So what clients think, what possible partners think, where the whole sector is going in general, we have to be informed always. And that's something that we are trying to provide for our members. We're going to do analysis and market assessments, those kind of things. That's also something that we are doing with different partners as well. And then, of course, we have hands-on support that we give to our members when it comes to particularly in partnership with development partners, because being an association, the advantage of being an association is when there are development partners that are trying to change the sector for good, that's we are a point of contact for them.
Right.
That means we can support in ideas, we support in what should be the best thing to do for Ethiopia to make sure that the sector grows, right? So in particular, we have partnered with a couple of partners already that are supporting for the last 3 years now. We have been participating in a global expos where Ethiopian companies were able to present their services and offerings to global firms. We have been participating in GITEX Dubai, in GITEX Berlin as well, and of course in Marrakesh, and of course next year we are also trying to shift that to be able to work with other partner countries where the Southern Asian. So we are going to start with India, and then of course move along with as a possible partner, because that is something that we can add value as well. We can be working in partnership with the bigger outsourcing countries as well. And then of course standardization support is because the one thing that is that can level the playing field for Ethiopian or African outsourcing companies is to make sure that we are compliant with global standards. That means if you are have the same kind of global certificates as traditionally preferred outsourcing destination, that means you are in the same level as these countries. So that's also what we are trying to do for our member companies to be able to get certified with ISO certifications and GDPR compliance. That is a support that we are also trying to give as well. And of course, besides that, we do a lot of advocacy works with government, which we have really done successfully for the last 2.5 years now, for the government to be able to see this sector as a core and pillar for the growth and transformation of the country as well, and to drive foreign currency revenues for the country as well. So that is already happening. Government is very excited. They always kept asking for advice, is what can we do? And that is a momentum that we are able to create as an association as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so important. And it reminds me a little bit of how baffling it is that some of the top football clubs don't have their own data annotation services, their own analysis services. I work as a researcher for, well, governments and
Yeah.
GIZ and them, but also for companies who are interested in who are saying, well, yeah, I'm interested vaguely in Africa. It's a good time zone, so let me check which countries should I check out. And then we send them a list of 10 countries, and the criteria we use is it's not super scientific.
Yeah.
Is it, is there a war going on? Is there hyperinflation? Those are the basic things. And then is it something that, is it, does it have good connectivity? And then is the labor pool, what are the B2 level English or French, whatever the market is. And then it's also like, are there companies in that ecosystem?
Yeah.
And where would who would we speak to if we came to that country? And it's so fascinating that during COVID, a lot of companies went to different cities across Africa to check out new locations, and they didn't have anybody to talk to. They didn't have anybody to
No.
speak to, like from government side. And I tried it myself. Like, I mean, if I'm advising a company, which African country do you want, or we always say country, but it's actually city, right? Which African capital city do you want to invest in? Where do you want to put your BPO? A lot of times, there are websites, government counterpart websites, and you write them like the investment promotion agencies, and you write them and you don't get an answer.
Yeah.
And like it's just like so it's just baffling what low-hanging fruit in the
Would have
recent
been.
past, yeah, have been missed, right? Like so,
Yeah.
I mean, we could also speak about the Federation of Associations, right? So Rod Jones in South Africa. So when I go to South Africa, it's clear. It's BPESA, or if you go to Cape Town, it's Cape BPO, and you have an address where you have a counterpart that's also kind of well known. And just over the last few years, in different African countries, I feel like the Federation, like coming from the north, Rolana is the powerhouse. They're coming from Itida, like helping the rest of the continent kind of organize and create associations. And then from the south, right, with Rod Jones and Tracy Freeman and those guys kind of are helping to create the federation. And you're in that federation, right?
Yeah. 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 And because the African Federation is quite interesting, really. And we're going to host the first gathering of the federation in Addis uh, uh,
Right.
in October. That's the plan.
Nice.
And the very interesting thing, because the what we are trying to do as a country, that like what I mentioned with members of the Ethiopian Outsourcing Association, why we are trying to set up like why did we set up the association? It is because without being one voice, because it's like this. So you go to you want to set up a shop for selling a book, right? You don't want to do it in a place where there are no bookshops, because people don't, because if they don't know you, they don't just come for you. Like, people just browse the other shops and they will find you. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And and it's the best strategy to open a shop is like in a crowd full of shops like you. Contrary to popular beliefs.
Yeah.
But that is the thinking behind it, really. So then and then we say, okay, we sell the country together. We say Ethiopia is a good destination for outsourcing market for BPO. And then while you come to Ethiopia, you can explore. We have lots of companies to have the same thing for Africa. And uh, we have this notion globally that Africa is like one big country. Yeah, it is what it is. Like that is the sentiment. But then even if in discussion, even in discussions, people don't specifically say, no, what, let's try this country, that country. They might say, let's try Africa, like like it could be ignorant, but it's also something that you can leverage. And you say, okay, you know what? If people are already thinking Africa as one big country,
Right.
why not just, say,
Yeah.
okay, yes, we are one big continent. We work
Yeah.
together, and then there are opportunities, and we can present those opportunities as such. And then once those opportunities come in, and then clients will have their preferences, of course. But then, so the whole idea of the federation for African GBS associations is exactly this. And we say, let's sell Africa together, because Africa, whether we like it or not, it is the next big destination for young people. It is going to be, most of the workforce of the world is going to be African in
Yeah.
very, very nearly. So, like, we might as well leverage that and still start speaking about Africa altogether. So that's what it is, really. And it's very exciting initiative. And I represent the Eastern African part of the association. We have our steer core is divided into five, with Central Africa being central. and then the four angles of Africa. So the Rolana, like you mentioned, she represents the northern part of Africa. So every part have one. So I'm representing the eastern part of it. So like you said, when global clients come in, they don't just have to speak to a certain body for Ethiopia, but they can also do it for Eastern Africa. They can also do it for Africa, and they say, okay, well, where's the best place in Africa? Because that is the
Right.
whole sentiment. Yeah.
Interesting. So you would be the counterpart for a company from America that is thinking, well, let me check Eastern Africa. Um, what countries would there be? So could you arrange a round trip for them to meet the relevant people and companies in, say, Kigali, Nairobi, Kampala, and Addis?
Yes, indeed. That's the idea. That's the idea.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, are those the countries that are, do you have memberships from those countries? How many countries are
And
in the,
there's Kenya because Rwanda is in the central. We because the way we divide it is not like
oh, okay.
your typical mapping of Eastern. Well, yeah, but so Kenya, Uganda, Sudan, but Kenya and Uganda being the biggest, then Tanzania. And Ethiopia, of course, and there isn't much market in Djibouti, but these are the Eastern Africans. So, but Kenya and Uganda and Tanzania being the biggest as well.
Right. And you have the personal connection with, is there another WhatsApp group a level higher now between you and the counterpart in Kenya and the counterpart in Uganda?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, the Uganda representative, we know each other, and they are also in the members. Kenya, the same thing. So we discuss. That's the plan.
So it's the same thing as what you mentioned with agglomeration effects. When I want to go buy shoes, I go to the mall because there's three shoe stores there. Right? Even though those shoe stores are bitter rivals, they want
Yeah.
me to, or maybe they have their own niche. One might be more about, dress shoes, or they might differentiate themselves on price and quality also. But still, they would like to have the customers in their store. So it's this hate-love relationship between, when you set up a investor trip to the three, four countries in Eastern Africa. Of course, you personally would love them to spend the most time in Addis, right?
Yeah, yeah, because the thing is like it's a responsibility that I have. I have to yeah, we comply with what the client wants because the clients usually they know what they want. They do.
Right.
Because then you know value propositions for each country really. Like what is if you were looking for something specific, okay, this is where you have to be. That's something that we have to advise them on. Yeah.
So by client, when you say client, do you mean investors? Like, so you would say a BPO that's coming in, like a CCI coming to Addis, or do you say actually buyers? Like, are they looking around to buy services from these different locations and they just want to check out what's being sold there?
Both.
Both.
Both. Yeah, because that's the same thing that we do at the Ethiopian Outsourcing Association. That we one of the pillars that we have is investment promotion. We want bigger players to be operating from Ethiopia because we now have a special economic zone for them, really specifically designed for BPO. They can leverage those infrastructures, those talent pools that we have worked so hard to develop as well, and the regulations that are the tax-free privileges that they have. So we want to make sure we work together with the Ethiopian Investment Commission to attract these big firms to be able to open shops here. So it's it's quite a interesting city. Addis is really because the uh, Ethiopian Airlines is here.
Yeah.
Probably the most connecting airlines in Africa, the biggest here.
Yeah.
That means you have a direct destination from almost anywhere in the world, really, like big,
Yeah.
almost all big cities. And then and it's an easier route So at the same time, you add all other these other benefits being in Ethiopia, setting up in Ethiopia by itself, and like a nice weather proximity to Europe when it comes to time zones, 1 or 2 hours. Americans, we also have like half days overlap as well. So like
Yeah.
it's a really a perfect spot to, and it was just not being sold very well in the past. And that's what we are here for. Yeah.
So just for the uninitiated, it's not just Ethiopian, although you're correct. Ethiopian Airlines is the airline in Africa, but also KLM, Turkish, and a bunch of others are all flying direct to Addis. So it's a good spot to get to, and it's a hub that from Addis you go to. It's one of the if you go to Skyscanner, you
Yeah.
see Addis is one of the main hubs that from there you go on to other African cities, which is a big and the I mean, tell me a bit about Bole. So Bole
Yeah.
is the part of town that actually wasn't traditionally the downtown, but now kind of is because, or despite, I don't know, it's so close to the airport, like walking distance.
Yeah. You could just arrive at your destination like in Addis, and immediately when you walk out, it's Bole. It's the center of the city. So that's also an advantage that like I think Ethiopian Tourism Commission is also trying to work around that the fact that like Bole is just right there to be able to attract investors that are connecting through Ethiopia and if they are they can design packages for them like to visit Addis for 1 or 2 days and then
Yeah.
fly back to wherever they are. So yes, it's really Bali is really a very vibrant one of the best places to be like as an African city as well. One of the best places to be in Africa is also Addis Ababa. Quite very interesting culture, very raw culture in Ethiopia. That's it's and what is the right word? Unfiltered and no,
Unfiltered.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Unfiltered, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it is. So that you see, and like in the middle of the city, you see all this cultural heritages, cultural restaurants, and where you can dance with cultural, and it's and the food is quite unique. You know Ethiopian food, right? Like yeah. You told me you like one.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
know. I was going to get to that. Every time I have an Ethiopian on, Ethiopian food is my favorite food. So
yeah, so it's an
injera,
adventure,
like,
you know,
yeah,
injera.
yeah. So where do I where in Addis when I come? I'll be there end of September. We'll be doing the hackathon together at ALX.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah,
really look forward to that.
yeah.
And I hope we get to eat together.
Yeah, for sure, man. And like even if you don't want to, you have to. Like with Ethiopians, you have to. Like
Oh,
it's
that won't be a problem.
yeah, because the thing is, I have my brother-in-law. He's a Dutch guy, and the first time he came to Ethiopia, and it's like he came to our house and says, okay, my sister was being nice, and say because in Ethiopia for being nice you insist that you eat, like because like you have to eat. It's like because if I come to your house and say, okay, you want to eat something, and I say no, that's it, right? But in Ethiopia, we insist that you have to eat. So he actually
Yeah.
thought he was being because the food that was brought to him he did not like very
Oh,
much because it
really?
was very no, yeah, because it's not injera. It was like
Oh, okay.
very cultural thing. She was being nice enough to bring it from the rural areas of Ethiopia, but he it didn't he didn't like it, and so he still speaks about talks about this as being tortured with food, you know. No, but it
Yeah.
is it is
No, I
the
mean, yeah.
quite interesting culture that we have in Ethiopia. We take it for granted as Ethiopians, but I know every time I speak to foreigners, it is quite something to be proud of, really. Yeah,
I mean, every country has their own culture in a sense, but there is like African food, and then there is Ethiopian food. That's very special. And also the culture with the coffee culture on the side of the road. And it is a very special place.
yeah,
And the weather is also very conducive. I would call it British weather. You come out of the plane in Addis and you think,
yeah.
did I land in Africa or did I take a wrong turn here?
Oh, I didn't know it was quite similar because the Yeah, it makes sense. Makes
Depends
sense.
on the season, I guess. But
Uh,
it's because it's so elevated, right? It's so high. It's not like landing in Accra, you know you're in Africa, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Hey man, where can people reach you for both things? So let's first go to what's the name of your platform?
Platform annotate plus.ai. So
Hmm.
that is for our AI platform. But R&D Group.com is our website.
Yeah.
They can find us over there. We have a contact us page, but info at rndgroup.com is where they could reach our business development people as well.
And
So
you personally are on LinkedIn or
yeah. I think if you just write the name fully, then it should be able to because it's quite
I'll put
unique
you in the
name.
description. I'll put your LinkedIn link in the description of this tape.
Oh
So
yeah,
tape
that
is an
works.
old word. What do we call it? This
Hmm?
this podcast,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
thing we're doing right now. I'll put you in the description.
sure.
Um, and the association, you obviously you guys have a website and people
Yeah,
can
yeah.
reach there or they can reach you personally
Again,
also.
association also etoutsourcing.com.
Okay.
Etoutsourcing.com
Okay.
is the site as well. So the it has an info page as well. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. So global BPOs reach you at the Outsourcing Association. Global football clubs or volleyball clubs reach you personally at R&D.
R&D,
And
yes.
anyone who hasn't tried Ethiopian food yet can reach you under either.
Yeah. And LinkedIn is the best place to be is for both.
Great. Great.
Yeah.
Wendy,
Yeah, for
thanks for
sure.
doing this.
Oh, thanks, man. It's a quite interesting conversation, huh?
Yeah, was there anything we missed? Anything we should still
Um,
address? Something that you thought we might speak about, or did we? I didn't
uh,
torture you too much with my "Can AI
no,
become conscious?" question.
no. It's always an interesting conversation talking about AI. No, we haven't missed anything really. And
Cool.
then you also have to eat. Yeah.
Yes, we do have to
Yes.
eat, and your food is going to be better than mine. Can't say that too
Yes.
loud here, but I very much
No.
look forward to coming and getting some injera.
Yeah, for
All
sure,
right.
for sure.
Thank you,
All right.
Wendy.
All right.
Thanks. Yeah,
Thank you, Elvis. Have a good one. Ciao.
you too. Bye.